Hey everyone, how's it going? We're just switching over here to set up the stream. Give it a minute for people to come in here if they'd like. Today we're going to be working on the inventory again. I did a little bit of work off stream to figure out what exactly I was doing wrong. I was just really tired. But I was able to get that sorted. And we'll go through those changes today, and then we're going to continue to just work on the project. I think we're going to do some art even. Talk about what the next steps are, what else I want to implement, and figuring out exactly what type of game this is going to be. All right, well, with that in mind, let's cue the intro, and let's get to work. At least I think that's what I want to do. I think we're ready for that, right? Refresh my chat here. I don't know why it's... There we go. All right, here we are. Yeah, let's cue that intro. All right, how's it going, everyone? All right, so let's see, there's a couple of things I gotta look at here, but I think we're gonna be all right. It's over. Yeah, cool. Okay, so there might be some differences in my audio today. I'm not using the same setup I was. I just recently moved everything around. And I'm using a different microphone, so hopefully that comes through okay. In our last episode, I was kind of working through the inventory management, and since then, I've done some tweaking and some adjustments to that script, but rather than necessarily going through each and every point, because right now, you know, I guess the point of these streams is just to stream, to produce content and stuff, but I do want to start editing my videos and moving them into like a singular edit or something, where you guys can catch the important information, actually digest what's important. Otherwise, I'm just want to do a transparent development in my development process so people can see what I'm doing. So yeah, with all of that being said, what we have done is this. So now, I've disabled the drone for now. It still does its job, but we're going to be rethinking the way that we do that. And what we have going for us right now is if we collide with or pick up a item to add it to our inventory. Right now I'm working on excuse me, what the inventory would look like in between multiple different versions. So like the console or controller format, or the inventory setup for PC. Obviously, that's not where we want this to be. I just kind of set it somewhere so we could see it. It's very small right now, but we're working on it. So we got that working. So there's syncing between multiple objects. We can now harvest and collect our resources, and the counter will go up. And currently, that's it. There is no removing of items yet in the inventory. So that's something that we want to do. maybe like a drag and drop. But yeah, so we do have things in our inventory, and we can now check to see if there's things in our inventory. And so that'll be important. That's chest is having a weird issue where the Z order of that is getting hidden by other tiles, it looks like, by the tile it's on. That's kind of funny. Yeah. For those that, some people made a comment that they thought my character was getting hurt when I turned around. That's the back of his head. Yeah. So we might address that in the art today as well. But all right, let's do this. All right. So now that we have collecting items, I think we want to work on dragging items, dragging and dropping them, like throwing them out. Actually, for now, let's do let's do use items. Let's do that. Use items. So before drag and drop from inventory, the first thing I want to do is add a comment here. Let's move this stuff down. Okay, in this, let's shrink what we don't need anymore. Boop, boop, boop. I guess one thing I do want to show you is in our game, we now are saving our inventories. We have numbers for them. And right now, these are counting as inventory squares, but this one isn't. So let me update the preview, and then we'll take a peek at it. So now what's happening is we have an inventory square that's meant for controllers, and that one has an ID and an item state, just like our inventory squares do, and these ones are counting. And so now we're checking to see if there's an item value in it. And right now, actually in our debugger, we can go to our player and see that there's also an item picked. And if the item picked is equal to a certain thing, then or whenever we collide with an object, that sets the that value, and then it passes it to the player, and then from the player into the inventory. And we're gonna want to remove the player's control over that in the long run, but for now, because I'm working with multiple player instances, I'm just testing that feature. So we also have an inventory array that has heavy items in it. Still, we haven't changed anything there. And then we did remove the string ID, and we have the square ID, I guess. We still have that there. That we don't need this one anymore. And we have the item square map, which we will still be using, but it won't be the way that I had originally described it. So moving over here into using these items, the first thing that we want to do is toggle layer visibility. So if the visibility is true, since we may want to toggle the inventory on and off later. So only do this while that's true. So here we go. So this is the foundation of everything. So if the layer and if the visibility of the inventory layer is true, if it is visible, and if the right mouse button was released, if right, and this way we don't have to trigger it once. We can say mouse button was released. So rather than saying if click is down, we can say if right click is released and the cursor is inside of inventory square, and then in this case we're gonna do an or statement. Now that I'm thinking about it, for now we're just gonna do an inventory square. No. There we go. We want to update the player's inventory. So if that's true, gotta go one layer deeper. We're gonna go inventory and I'm just gonna grab. Well, I guess I don't have one. We'll go inventory. We're gonna look to see if it contains an item first. Has an item. So if the player inventory has an item equal to the inventory square dot we need to pass this as a variable, so we need this. Actually, we need to make sure that the variable is set to a string, that we're returning that. If not, it'll return it as a non-string value, even though this is a string. It's weird. It's engine specific. Just gotta do it that way. So if there is, right, this item in the player inventory, great. And now we want to remove that item. Back to our inventory. Remove an item from the player's inventory, and that needs to be this same thing that we had before. Now we're removing that item, and we need to take into account all of the slots. So take into account for the text slot that is associated with the inventory square, and change the text as we've done previously. Right in our collecting script, actually. There we are. We're just going to copy that real quick. We want to update the count. So we're changing that text slot that we're targeting to the inventory item count of the player's inventory, and we want it to be the equivalent of that item. So if there was this is only happening once. We're not removing all of them. We're removing one item. So we could do it per number of quantity times if we were doing remove all, but I only wanted to delete one. And then after that, this is where we add the conditions of what if it's a chair. So if the inventory, let's see. We want to create a item radish at the player's X plus random in range between 0 and 10. And we want to do this for both of them. And that way it's a random location around you. We're going to create a radish. If the inventory square, let's see. For each, no, trying to think the logic flow here. I need more. My brain's still booting up. I need more tea. All right. So if the inventory square item was set to the animation of radish, create a radish. So now when we run our game, whoa, it did work. Oh, woo! We did it, boys. We did it. So we need to set the distance a bit farther from the player, but that worked. So we want to do, let's say 5 to 15 or 10 to 20, 10 to, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15, 8 to 15. We'll start at 5 to 15 random in those random ways. Pick this up and blam, blam, blam. See what's happening there? Oh, oh, oh. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. I want to make this a little bit more advanced. I want to say we're going to do a random check here because I may want to minus it, right? There's a couple different variations of that spawn that we might want to do. And I'm sure there's got to be... Let's consider, where do I want to create this? I'm going to move this back. So what I was thinking about doing is doing a random in range and checking between 4 numbers. And that way we can do a plus, 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 minus, minus, plus, minus, minus. And that way it randomly decides what way we're going to go. And that's one way of doing it, but that feels messy. There's got to be a faster way to do that in the engine. But I'm not really thinking about how I'm going to do that. Like, I could get the direction of the player and then do it at the, like, in the direction of the player's looking, perhaps. We can add a drop point to the player That'd be an option. And we could say, like, it's always in whatever the way he's looking. So if he's in the front, it's in the front of the floor. And you'll always throw in that direction. But I kind of like the idea of things being thrown out in random directions. Well, can I just do like negative 15 to 15? And then... I mean, there is a chance now it's going to spawn on top of me. But wouldn't that technically be the same thing as adding a... Oh! Let's see. Okay. Okay. I'm a genius! Holy crap. We did it. We got random. Yeah, we just need to work on that pickup range. So that would be in the logic for, or the Boyd system. No, hold on, it's in Plant Manager. Right here. We want to move towards the player if we're not below 12 pixels. And at least above... And at least below 32. Add a little bit of... Woo. I'm gonna change this to like... If it's below, I don't know, 8. And it's not below 0. Pick it up. And that way I have to be way closer to this thing. Okay, that's too close. So... We just want a slight, if we're close to it, right? We want it to kind of move into us. So we gotta find that. I'm just playing with the... Okay, that's a bit better. We just don't want it to recollect, you know? And honestly... I'm using Boyd's for this, but that's kind of sloppy. I could just add Force, and we wouldn't have Boyd problems at all. You guys ever notice that it's not ever on the other side of me? Well, we have a way to remove something. Now, I wonder if this is going to work for... I haven't tried it. I assume it my count isn't... Yeah! I can leave them behind. That's wild. We got our inventory partially working here. I like that. Toss that out. Yeah, we're gonna work on this. We're gonna remove the voids system from our we're gonna change this to an items force. Add force towards an object. The target is the player at a speed of 10 pixels a second. Hey, I like that. Maybe a little bit faster. But not by much. I don't think we need much more than that. Okay. Okay. Look at that. And that's like, if we just get close enough, you know? But we do got to work on that spawn. And honestly, I think that I'm gonna go with that. Let's try this. Watch. So variable. We want to do a scene variable. In this case, scene variable. It's a text variable, and it's called random. And random is random in range between, let's say, 1 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, or 4, it'll be random. And then we can say if the scene variable, similarly to here. So we copy this and say if the scene variable is 1, do this. If it's 2, do this. 3, do this. 4, do this. In this case, we're going to say if it's 1, then we're going to change this to minus. We want it to be at least 10 away from the player and up to 20. And we want this one to be minus, and we'll say 15 to 20, or 10 to 20. And now, so that's 1. This one can be like this, and then this will be a plus instead. So we've got a minus minus, a minus plus. Now we need a plus plus and a plus minus. And then so this one needs to be plus 10 to 20. And this one needs to be 10 to 20. Now we need a plus minus. And this needs to be 10. This one needs to be 20. And this needs to be 10. And this needs to be 20. There we go. So now, boop, boop. Where did it go? Whoa, he's way down there. Woo. That's spawning awfully close to my head. Is it just me, or does it like never spawn on the left side? Oh, there it goes. There it goes. It's spawning awfully close to me on the left side of my head. There's some extremes. That's really far. I mean, it's better than it was, but we're still having some weird pickup situations going on. That didn't work at all. I'm not exactly sure why. You know what, though? Now that I'm thinking about it, our collectible, we need to remove Boyd's from it as well. We no longer need the Boyd's behavior. So this is effectively the same thing as a drag and drop, right? I think that the best thing for us to do here... Whoa, where'd that... Whoa, that onion's way down here. Okay. I don't really like that. Yeah, I don't really like that. So... I think I'm gonna add Boyd's back. But work on like this. This is crazy. We don't want to rotate the object. Let's see here. And off they go. That didn't work the way I thought it would. Well, for one, that needs to be a number variable. I mean, both ways work, but there's just way too much room for error. So I think what we're going to do instead, right, is create a spawn point on the player. So what we're going to do is go to the player and add a point on the player. And we're going to add a new point, and we're going to put it at the player's feet, plus, so 8.5 plus, we're going to say 15. So 15, or 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll do 24. Just to make it nice and rounded there. So that point is way over here now. We're going to close that. Oh, we should name that point. We're going to name it item drop. Apply. And now we're going to just create, we're going to get rid of this. And we're actually going to do player dot point X, and the point's name is item drop. And then we're doing the same thing for Y. And now, we've got this perfect. We also, on our Y, we want to minus the item. Whoa, not Steamworks. Item width. Height. Minus the height. Because we want it to spawn, or in this case, I think it's plus. I think plus is to the top in GDevelop. I could be wrong. That didn't seem to make much of a difference at all. That's interesting. That point will always be there from the player, huh? It'll always be to the right, even if the sprite turns around. But we could say if our direction is left, then do minus that point. Seems like a lot of work. Let's address that point. Let's make it instead directly below the player. Oops. We don't want to do that. Close, cancel, cancel. At the point of the item drop, bring it back to 8.5, and then we'll do 25. So now it's way down here. And that at least makes more sense to me, because now when we throw it down, at least it's spawning right here. And so then for the item, the radish, now we could change the origin point to be here. I want the center to be there. Hit apply. Okay. Let's see. So now we're running into the issue where that's not far enough. That's because our item's collision mask is probably huge. Yeah, that is way too big. So we're going to use a custom collision on our radish. And we're just going to do it to like the top part of the radish. Something like that. And then we're going to set that to close, apply. And now, when we throw down our radish, it's going to immediately try to come to us. So we might consider tossing it even further. Which is fine. I think that'd be fine. So let's change the point on the player to not complicate this, and add an additional, let's say, we'll make it 32. It's pretty far down there. But now we can tell the radish that if we're not below 16, to not suction to us, or at least 24. So that would be back in the plant manager. So okay, so 16. So if we're below 16 and not below 8, there we go. So now if we get close enough, all right, that'll work for now. Right now it doesn't work on Y, the right click, because we haven't configured that yet. So it just works if you right click in the inventory. And it's only if the inventory is seen. So now the next thing we want to do is well, actually we're not done with this. Let's comment this out. Just so we can see what's going on, right? So and the next step here is if this is kind of self-explanatory, but so if there are more than 0 items in the inventory, remove and correct and update it. And then here, this is if item do something. And then we need one more, because we only have it if there is something. Now we need one more stage. And we're going to add that and pop it out just a little bit. And this one is in case of no items. So now if there isn't, so this is the is statement, but this is the isn't, with J. There we go. Reverse it with J. We're going to set the animation of the square to empty or blank, or our default state. So I can grab, minimize that. We do something like that in our collecting item script. In this case, we're going to change the animation to nothing. And then we're going to change the picked the name, the item name of the inventory square to nothing. And we could do like, let's say blank. Set the animation to blank. And we can go back in, go to our UI, go to our item square. We're going to call this one blank. So now we're saying if there isn't something, don't do anything. Doesn't matter. Don't mess with it. And we just wanted to make sure that we have a condition there to make sure we don't accidentally enter any sort of game-breaking loop logic. So there we are. So now we have an inventory that is, when it's viewable, do that. So I think that calls for the need for an event group called hide the inventory. Yes, yes, yes. Very, very complicated thought logic here. Basically, we want to when a certain key function is pressed, hide the inventory. So to do that, pretty straightforward. We need to go back to our key mapping in our global variables, and we need to add a new button. So we have the action button, and now we need the keyboard. Let's see, inventory button, and that one we're gonna do as I for inventory. Or that'll work for now. I like doing like tab generally, or B for bag. I don't know what other things we're going to add to the game, so right now we're not going to worry about any of the other stuff. So just inventory is I. And now when that button is pressed, we want to do these actions. And so for here we have T. Oh, that's for time. Sorry. We're for the action of hitting a key. So I'm actually just going to copy this and paste it here so I don't have to go back and get it. So in this case, it is a key pressed text expression. If the variable of keyboard, and then in this case we want to do inventory. So if the I key is pressed. So if the I key is pressed, and the layer is visible, hide it. Hide the inventory. And in the case that it's not visible, show the inventory. Boop, 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 boop. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? Let's save this real quick. And let me check something out real quick here. Oops. I got multiple monitors set up, so I got to move things around. Oh god. No. Let's see. How we doing today, folks? And honestly, actually, well, okay. I think it has to do with the way that I entered this key, because we're not doing it once, we're doing it multiple times. So for one, we need to go in here and go key released, and we want to do a release on the text expression. And this is where, whoa, we want to do this. So we're gonna do a released in this case. So if the keyboard inventory button has been pressed, and it's visible, hide it. If it's not visible, show it. That also did not work. Let me just make sure that that key is being mapped correctly, because this could be key released, and we're just going to do I to make sure that... Okay. Okay. I guess we can... We don't know. This is still being triggered. We need a boolean. We can, or in this case, just like a regular, we just do a scene variable. We can say inventory, so I released is set to 1. So when we press it, set it to 1. And if the scene variable if I release is equal to 1, hide the inventory. And if it's not, it's 0. Right? And then we could say now, if it is visible, set this to 0. And then if it's 1 and isn't visible, also set it to 0. So we're only toggling it. There it goes. So now we have a toggleable UI. Obviously, I can't click anything when it's not there. And so then it only works when it's visible. Boom. Would you look at that? All right. That's fun. We're making progress. So now we have the basis of a farm system. I gotta tell you guys, it's driving me nuts. I think it's time that we destroy this sort of farm squares and we build a new farm plot. It's driving me nuts. So let's work on that farm plot. Do a little bit of artwork here. New. No, we don't want to do new. We want to open our space farmers. And work on how we're gonna end up doing our farm plot. Let's see here. I'm just gonna do a little bit of Google searching here and look up a few ways to do these slots. I know that like the usual way is really kind of boring. I'd like to spice that up a little bit, because like something that you might see is like getting at this darker blue, right? We'll go all the way around this to signify that it's raised. The item that we're working with is raised a little bit. And actually, usually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's only this side. And then we would take a lighter blue and hit it like this. So now we've got depth. And then effectively, it's just doing this. To represent tilled earth. And that looks really dumb. And even then, that's not quite right either. I mean, there's, of course, a few other ways of going about doing this. I might honestly make a slightly brighter blue. Move that there. Go back and take this and add it to here. There. So now we've got this obnoxiously bright blue, and then this lighter blue that go underneath it. And now we can say, okay, go to here, come down all the way to the bottom. And then every maybe 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So every leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3. Leave a gap. That didn't quite work out. Let's try this again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That did work out, actually. And normally, then we could come back through and do something like this. You do it in a slightly different color than the actual black outline. So I'd need like one more color of blue. But then that becomes a plot. Doesn't look bad. I mean, I don't like it. But I want some more pizzazz out of what we're doing here. And then there's other, then the other options are to do more of this style, but more refined, less. So what we would actually end up doing is going back to take another middle square. I'm missing a rock. It's okay. I don't know where it went, but so here, and then we could go, okay, let's make this so it's, oh man, oh, not quite. There we go. And then this is the other mode where we take a darker soil approach to this, and that way as we build it, like it might be more like this actually. We would build it kind of like a progress bar. And then that way we have a middle and end pieces, right? Handling it more like a tile set. Paste. Ah. There we go. Right? And then when we plant something, it does at least is very visible. So, yeah, what's up? Don't run, Sean. That's weird that didn't pop up in my chat. I had to go look at that. Wait, why did that happen? Let me find out what's going on here on my end. Oh, it did. I just didn't see it. I apologize. How are you? No, what actually happened, yeah, I know, right? Game over. What actually happened was I have a pop out for my live stream, and so it wasn't updating on the browser I was actually looking at. I just happened to look over at a different in my streaming software, and I saw that you messaged. So, hello, how are you? Yeah, yeah, it's going pretty good. Just doing a little bit of game design work today. Appreciate you stopping in. All right. So I'm thinking another thing that we might be able to do as well is take this seed space and generate some noise. I don't know that I can do that in this particular program, but I can simulate noise by just kind of changing up the color palette here a little bit and adding here, let me give me a second, I'll show you. Let me just finish what I was doing real quick. That's not gonna look right. Hey, what's up, Blue Knight? I appreciate you coming in. So this is TerraFarmers. Let me pop open the game here. So right now I'm working on a kind of, I have a night, like this is it kind of dimmed a little bit. I can pop it open. So this is a top-down survival meets farming simulation. So I'm kind of going for a Astroneers meets Slime Rancher in a 2D sort of game. And so, you know, right now we've got the pickups and the drops, and right now I'm working on inventory for different setups. So if it was PC, you know, maybe have a menu. If not, right? So, and then, yeah, and then I've got radishes right now that you can pick up. You can, the drone, right now, I have him turned off because normally he's like flying around like a maniac. Which I kind of want to set back. I did some changes to him, so actually I think I could turn back on the voids on the drone. So UI, mob, drone, behavior. Let's add voids movement. We don't need a rotation. We only want him to go 150. Something like this. So now the drone is moving. But so is the radish. Where are you going, radish? It's got a mind of its own. All right. And that's because the radish has voids movement. So we're just going to set this to 0 for now. And now that shouldn't happen. Excellent. Okay, so now we have our drone who follows us around very lazily. And no matter where it is, as long as we can see around ourselves. So I have this selector, which allows us to kind of see, hey, I appreciate the love there, guys. Kind of look around yourself, right? And if you can zap it, he shoots the land and plants a seed. Because right now I don't have a farm plot yet, which is what I was just working on. And also we want to test whether or not our grow system works. So we haven't linked everything together yet, but we can force time to pass. Let's say this is a day and night rotation. In Stardew Valley, this would be like you're going to bed. And so every day your radishes grow at different times. And you can harvest them by walking up to them and pressing E. And there I picked it up automatically. So you can right click and throw your radish on the ground if you want to. But yeah, that's how, you know, so we do have a farming system that's now working. And if you leave your plants for too long, they turn into monsters. And so this is the radish monster that I have planned. Right now it doesn't do anything, but it spawns into a monster. And we just need to add some logic to this monster to have it roam around. And then just tween to that movement. But what'll happen in this game to kind of yeah, no zombies. In this we got radish mobs. So what'll happen is each plant is going to have its own behavior type which affects other crops. And so the radish is kind of obnoxious, and so it runs away from the player constantly. And that'll just be what it does. It just runs and runs and runs. And then if it gets into other plants, let's say you don't have a fence or something blocking it out, it'll plant itself, replant itself like this. And if it does that and you don't get to it in time, it'll sprout all of your other mobs or all of your other plants into monsters in that area. It'll check around itself like this, and it says, hey, if there is a plant here that's planted, turn it into a monster. And so you have to, like, keep your radishes happy. You can keep them pacified, so they won't just run away from you. If you cage them up and feed them and take care of them, they give you seeds so that you can continue to farm. And from farming, there's a small chance at getting a seed, like a very small chance, but you're more likely to get seeds by taking care of your plants as monsters. But that's it. So it's going to be kind of chaotic. Also, I'm going to add a underground dungeon generator. So all of our game is going to be procedurally generated. And so here I can show you that I have a randomly generated biome, kind of like Minecraft, right? So we've got randomly generated, and it's based on this point right now. And I'm gonna make a palette that's moon or like empty planet themed, and that's what's gonna generate around these pockets of like environment that are healthy. And while you're in this environment, there's oxygen. You can breathe here. And so like astroneers, when you leave that zone, you're going to have to build tethers so that you can run to other areas and come back to build the oxygen, because it's called TerraFarmers, right? The whole point is we're terraforming a planet effectively. And so there's going to be like underground dungeons where it's like horror and it's all black and all you can see is like wherever your mouse is. And then we're going to have okay, let me read what Blue just said here. I feel it'd be cool if the farmer could plant, but also the drone. But the drone's seeds wouldn't be as good, so it'd allow for some strategy. Which is kind of interesting because I hear what you're saying. The drone, our plans with the drone is it's like the mining tool. And so whenever you hold left click, and I'll show you here, it plays a like burning animation if you hold it down. And so what we're going to end up doing is making it so that if this is like hitting a rock, it'll start mining that rock. Tink, 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 until it breaks. And then you'll be able to pick up the resources. And then that's like, the drone is actually more like the mining tool and your build tool and everything else. The player itself will have options to harvest, like this, right? When we're harvesting, that's a player move. Other things that the player can do will be attacking. And so I'll add a point to the hand, and we'll spawn an item that's always following the mouse. And then that way we can strike things if we have one of those items in our hand or something like that. For sure. For sure. But this is kind of the idea now. So, let's see. So going back to our drawing template here. Yeah, so back to the inventory. So there are plans for the drone upgrades, yeah. No, it's okay. I don't mind explaining. So here is our Dale. So Dale is the corporate company. This is like Space Farmers, redneck Space Farmers, right? So the whole idea is, so I'm actually a voice actor. I do audiobooks and stuff like that. And so, I'm working on creating this whole project kind of around, well, one, I've been a long time game fan. I have been doing some development in the past. I know some development stuff, but I wanted to add a lot of flair and sort of comedy to this development. So let me turn the music down and I'll let you hear something that I was working on. All right, so we're gonna turn up your guys' volume for my desktop. It might blow your ears out. Let me know. Hopefully this isn't too loud. We actually want to do, let's see, TerraFarmer Dale.
Well, howdy, y'all. It's TerraFarmer Dale here. Now, gather round and let me spin you a yarn about TerraFarmers. A mighty fine game that's still cooking up in the old development pot. It's all about them space farmers, you see. Sometimes them pesky space plants just ain't willing to stay put. They go wandering off, rooting where they ought not to. And what do you do when them rascally space plants start acting all ornery? Well, reckon you gotta put on your space boots and go chasing after 'em. Grab a trusty mallet, or whatever you fancy, and start smashing them wayward plants till they cough up them precious seeds. It's a good old seed hunt out here in the vast expanse of the cosmos, they'll tell you. So, next time them space plants get to misbehaving, don't just sit around twiddling your thumbs. Strap on your space boots, draw that mallet, and let the chase begin. It's a rootin' tootin' space farming showdown, and them seeds ain't gonna gather themselves now. You hear?
So that was yeah, it is a robot, and he is Dale from Portal. Is that one of the heads? Or and so in the game though, one of the things that I want is advertisements being played like from the universe. So this is an advertisement from Dale.
Howdy there, space farmers. This is Dale, your cosmic insurance wrangler,
So
coming
this
at
is-
you from Dale Company Insurance.
So that's what it sounds like before I do the what's his name? It's not Dale, isn't it? I thought it starts with a W. Wesley? What? I almost said Watson, but it's not Watson. I think it starts with a W. The main head orb thing. But so
Howdy there, space farmers. It's Dale, your cosmic insurance wrangler, coming at you from Dale Company Insurance. Now, I reckon y'all love planting them space seeds and watching them grow. But let me tell you, the cosmos is full of surprises. Picture this. You're out there in the great beyond, tending to your space radishes.
Wheatley, there you go.
Bam! A cosmic storm hits and them radishes start flowing off like they've got a mind of their own. Now, what's a space farmer to do? Fear not, my friend, because Dale Company Insurance has got your back. Our outlandish insurance covers everything under the galactic sun, including the particular predicament of runaway radishes. Yeah, you heard it right here. Radishing is covered. Whether it's a tornado of space dust or a rogue asteroid messing with your crops, we're here to make sure that your space farm stays as secure as a chicken coop on a summer night. With Dale Insurance, you can plant your radishes with peace of mind, knowing we're on standby for all them wild and outlandish space farm calamities. So don't be caught with your space overalls down now. Saddle up and head on over to Dale Company Insurance. We're here to keep your space farming dreams from drifting off into the cosmic unknown. Remember, if it's radishing, it's covered by Dale Company Insurance, where the outlandish meets the cosmic sensible.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. I was going for Borderlands is one of my favorite games. I was a young teenager when that game came out, and I've been playing Borderlands for a long time, and it's a big part of the influence in my life, the humor, and everything. So I am going for that sort of vibe, chaotic, controlled crazy, right? Controlled chaos. Let's put our bumps back on. Let's put some music, get the music rolling again. And we'll continue here with our little adventure. Let me know if the music's too loud or anything, but okay. So back to this nonsense. So the vending machines, right? I made a claw machine as one of the upgrades for the game. So what's going to happen is effectively your spaceship, you're sent on a mission to terraform a planet. However, your engines fail and you crash land on a different planet. And your ship has all the resources to terraform it. But you weren't supposed to be here. And so you can kind of get like these ship upgrades that let you, or these like machineries that are kind of capsuled into your ship. It spits them out, and then you get these upgrade machines. And so I'm gonna do like it's a vending machine sort of thing for your shovel, your hoe, your bucket. A 0.00001% chance of machinery. So you get things like Dale bucks, and that's the company pays you in Dale bucks. We got to be realistic. You're right. Uh, and so you've got like this messed up ship, and then the ship upgrades and other things come out of like a claw machine. Visually, I just thought it'd be super fun to create these wacky I want it to really be like over corporatized hillbilly nonsense. At least vocally, I wanted to come across from the vocals actually into the design elements. So now that we have some basic terrain stuff, yeah, we got to work on the farm. And I was using these tiles. What's going on, Punisher? I want to build. I was using these as the farm plot, but I don't like the way that the plants blend on it. So the next thing to figure out is how we're going to end up doing the tiles. Okay, that's a little loud for me. I don't know about you guys. And so one of the things that's really common in game development, right, is doing audits. So we're looking at other games and the way that they've done their tile sets to figure out how we're going to do it. This is kind of an interesting setup. Not exactly what I'm looking for, we can go to like Stardew Valley, looking at their tile set, and we can see that their farming is much like how I was doing it here, but it's missing some variables. For one, we probably don't need anything inside of that. I'm wondering if we just reduce the static, maybe we're going to put this on a plus and kind of do it like this. And then we're going to take this and do this to make sure that those connect right. Yeah, absolutely. Sean, you have a good one. I appreciate you stopping in. Enjoy your Halo Master Chief collection. That's good stuff. All right, so now that we have those, we know that those work. We want to then like connect the two. So what we can do is take that tile out, and we'll take another blue tile and put it in the middle here. And then we're just going to kind of loosely add some variation here. Maybe like grass is growing up this way. Maybe we'll do something like that. Let's clean this up just a little bit so that I can actually like pull it back out like that. There we go. So now we have some variation between our tiles. And from that, we can then go back in and reshade our tile. And let's see. Thank you. I think that this will be more towards what we want to do. That's a little messy. Let's see if we can add some, darken up some of these spots. This is kind of aggressive. There we go. Let's lighten those blacks up. I don't even know why they're black. There's black in there. It's not necessary. Let's clean that tile up too. All right. So now we've got I'm going to just do a soft pillow shading all the way through this. We're kind of adding shade on both sides. We're normally, technically, at the angle we would be looking at. We wouldn't have shading on both sides because like we're kind of looking more down at it. From our game's perspective is like, you know, what we do is we see the top half of the player, and then the legs are actually further in the background, right? So we kind of have this shape going on, which means our camera is, if we were looking top down, obviously our character's head would be straight down, and then as we adjust the camera, we can see more and more of the underbody, right? And that decides like, okay, if our camera is coming in straight down on top of them, this is what we would see. And then as we move our camera in a 3D sphere, right? So this is a dome. And so as we tilt our camera this way, away from the middle, we see more stretch of things going this way, right? Because we can see more depth. It's like laying on the ground and looking at your floor, trying to find something, you know? So when we start off, the player is here, and the camera would be up here. But then as we turn the camera, we need to be able to see more and more depth in that perspective. And that's how we kind of decide how to draw all the tiles. And so we need to match that in things like our sprites and all of that. And so as we tip, we should be seeing more depth here, more black, and more light. And then also at the top, we want to highlight where the sun would be shining off of that. Among Us Minecraft. What's up, Carl? Welcome. This is TerraFarmers. And yeah, you're not too wrong about that, I suppose. So for plot building, let's do some minor adjustments here on the tile set, just to add a little bit more depth to it. Just some visual identity. Yeah, I think that looks good. So basically what will happen now, once we program it, this will be an open world game. Yes. Now, as we build more farm tiles, we can expand it like that. And so now, as we get and plant our seeds, I would say, what do you guys think? That looks, I think that stands out more than it was previously. We can launch, here, so this is what we have currently. We've got random world generation. We've got our farming simulation. Let's harvest this real quick. Okay, pick up our item. Oop, there we are. We got inventory items. We can toss them on the ground. Oh, that's your drone. The red suit is a little sus. You're right, you're right. So this is your drone. Your drone does all your mining for you in this game, building, stuff like that. Right now it's leaving when it should be moving towards the object. That's okay. I don't know what that's about. But there you go. And then sometimes your plants will turn into monsters, which we don't have any logic for yet. We're gonna redraw the drone in its entirety. It's just a placeholder. A lot of things will be given a white outline when they're like inventory items, things like that. So one of the things that I could do, for example, so right now, when we start the game, right, these things don't have any outlines. Oops. Okay, let's see. There we go. When these, oh my goodness, when these spawn, they don't have any outlines. They're kind of hard to see. So visually, in the future, how I would address that, and I guess I could just address that now, is we're going to have a pickup layer. And that pickup layer is going to have a white outline of 1 pixel thick. And so what we can do is when we spawn something, we can spawn it on the pickup layer. And in this case, let's see here. Yeah, that should work. So now when we throw it out of our inventory, it's way over there because that's hilarious. Okay. We can fix that by going to our camera manager and setting the zoom level of the pickup layer to 3. Rip. And then centering the camera of that layer onto the player, I believe. Aha! I think, what do you guys think? Should it have more white outline, or do you think that's enough? Let me make it full screen. More? Yeah. You think less than a full pixel. Other people are saying... Interesting. Well, it doesn't... Here, we can... we'll take a look at it. So, I'll show you 0.5, just because I'm also curious at how thin that'll look. We can pick it up. We can drop it. I would say it's so thin, it's blending into the environment. Like, it's almost blue. And then let's see here. I will do 2 just because I want to see how fat and thick that is. It's going to be so big. I can already tell. Blah! That is so big. Oh, that is super distracting. It's so bright. Let's check that again and make everything on that pickup layer 0.75. And we'll pick that up and toss it on the ground. It's subtle. It's a bit more brighter than the 1, but let's go back to 1 and let's just, now that we've seen those variations, let's just do this back at 1. Yeah. Well, so one of the things... Lord, thank you. I am aware, actually, of Twitch's, opportunities there. However, I used to, be a streamer on Twitch back in 2011, 2012. And for reasons that I won't go into too much detail about, I won't stream on Twitch. They've lost my support. So, but one of the things that we're going to be doing in our game is procedural inventory generation. So let me show you, for those that have missed my other videos, one of the things that we're going to be doing in this inventory. So in our initialize script, we have a max generation of our inventory size, right? So, no, I appreciate it, Lord. I do. And I appreciate you trying to look out for me. That means a lot. So in our system, we're going to have inventory slots, and they won't all have numbers unless they actually have a quantity in them. So if it's 0, don't even have a slot, right? But one of the things that we're going to be doing is if you're carrying an item, to simulate weight, right? Certain items are going to be heavy items. And so imagine we're playing Astroneers, if you guys have played that. In Astroneers, you pick up big, heavy objects and carry them back to research them at your camp or, you know, at your base. And they simulate that by slowing your character down. And that works in a 3D game. But now in our system, what we're going to be doing is making heavy items, and they're going to reduce the total number of inventory squares you have, right? So if we have, let's say we have a max inventory of 12 slots, right? I'll just visually print that out. So here we have 12 slots. If we picked up a heavy item, there is no count on it because it's just one singular item. And to simulate the weight in our system, what we would do is, even though you've picked it up and it's taken up a slot, now reduce the total number of available inventory slots by its weight. And so we'll have a dynamic inventory that grows and shrinks depending on the bags you carry, the expansions you have. So it won't let you pick up the heavy item if you don't have enough item space in your inventory. And then if you do, And you, like, if there is a hiccup where it does accidentally pick it up, even let's say you pick it up at the same time as a bunch of other stuff, whatever those other things are, it'll pick them up and then throw them on the floor. Just like if you did this. Right? It'd be like that. You go to pick it up and it just keeps spitting it back out. So you won't lose anything you pick up. You just won't be able to carry it. So then you'll have to run back home, take care of what you need to take care of, and then go back out and get your stuff. And now I will be adding, like, for example, in this inventory system, what I'm thinking about doing is making it more like this, so more like Astroneers. And then we'll have something like this on the edge of the inventory, and let's say that they're like different tabs. And so if you get like a seed bag, it would be kind of like that. Maybe some sort of design that shows what that is. And then that's your seed bag. And so when you click on this, you'll have a different inventory for your seeds. So this item, though... Oh, no! Okay, hold on. I gotta not do that. I don't want to lose that item. There we go. So let's say for a minute that we're in your main inventory. We're going to pretend that this is your main inventory. This would take up an item slot. This bag would be in your main inventory as one item. And then, what that would unlock, though, is a whole new inventory like this. Let's see if I can just grab these and demonstrate briefly what I'm talking about. Those can move over just a little bit. There we go. And then you'd have a new seed inventory that is however big it is, right? So that's kind of the way that our inventory system is going to be generated, and we need to do that on the fly. And so if you're carrying a heavy item, let's say instead of a seed bag, we just have this heavy object. This square is the heavy object, and it technically, let's say it goes in the first slot. And let's say that heavy object is, I don't know, whatever this is, my stone rock thing. That's a heavy object. We would then reduce the number of inventory slots, and we'll just make these like dark blue for now. You can't use these. You still own them, like you still have the capacity, but you just can't put anything in them. Does that visually make sense? So the next step for us is to, of course, fix our little mechanic here. So we're going to fix that, and we're going to remove these. I appreciate that. I had a fever dream about this inventory system. I have never seen anything like this in any game, and I thought that it would be a sort of an interesting, an interesting take. All right, so the next step here is making the system to build our farm plots, and our evolution of our farm plot is going to look like this. I think this works. I know a lot of people are like blue color sensitive, and so we're going to be working on an alternate color palette and other color adjustments to make sure that there's inclusion for those disabilities. But this is the direction I think we're moving in here. And actually, what I can do is take this. Not that it really matters, but we'll plop it right there. There we go. Perfect. So now, we're going to export each of these. So we have plot 1, and then we have left, middle, and right. And I think how we're going to handle this is by putting a checker. And basically what we're going to say is like, we're going to put this square down, and we're going to say, we're going to check a point that is from the middle to here, to the next square. And if that square is another plot, make sure, and check this side. And if there's nothing here, then it needs to be this one. If there's nothing on either side, then it needs to be this one. And that's a pretty simple logic flow to create. So let's get our farming plots done, and then we'll move towards implementing maybe another item. That's a good question. What about plots in the next row down? These would be generating like this. So this is what it would look like if they're in a different row. What we could do, so normally we'd have a 3-piece design like this, right? If we were going to do like a full tile set. And I think what Lord is saying is if we do decide that we want a tile set that has support for that direction, what would that look like? And effectively, it would just be, if we wanted to design it, I'm not sure that I want to implement this yet in the game, but it's definitely an option. We would just clean this up. And then check in those directions. And then one more time, to do it properly, we kind of want this. There you go. That's what it would look like. So this is how we would design a tile set that can be infinitely drawn all over top of this to create like path. So this could also function, if it was like darker maybe, it could function as or had like wonder, no, we don't have it. I was like, if we had the spray paint tool, you know, that's a good way of adding like fake noise effectively. I could add scatter. This would work. We want to shrink this down and make the scatter less huge. We just want some scatter, right? So some sort of, that looks horrendous, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Like if we were going to do like a walking path or something, we would want some form of trail static. But there we are. So now we have the tile set if we want it. Boom. There it is. And so each of these, effectively, all we'd have to do is in the center of them, make a dot. Oh my goodness. The scatter on that's crazy. We just make a dot, and we check each of those points on each square to sample the next piece over. Does it have this? And that logic gets a little bit more complicated when you're dealing with big squares. For now, we're just going to produce a row. And what I want, though, effectively, is the drone to, like right here, right? We're scrambling the tiles because it's just randomly generating, but there's no tile logic deciding how to build it. I want that to be one big row, all connected. So that looks awful for now. And we're going to fix it. Let's do that. So, first things first. We need to export each of these tiles. So, pretty straightforward. Export as selected. We want this to go into the... it's funny. It used to be an onion. I mean, technically a red onion, I guess. I like it. A radish? I don't know. I don't know what the monster is. I just wanted to throw it out there. But let's go desktop, exit TerraFarmer sprites, growables, onion. We don't need to do that. I don't know why I'm even in there. We need to go to tile set. There we go. So plot 1 and 2 is what we currently have. We're going to get rid of both of those. And we're going to export this to be in the tile set. And we'll make this plot. We'll name this plots. Or just a singular plot, I suppose. Plot. There's no document. What are you talking about? No selected document. Are you giving me bullshit right now? What are you talking about? Oh, there's no selected document. I didn't select the thing. All right, now we're going to export selected as plot left end. For now, well, you can just do left, plot middle, and of course, plot right. And so we can go back to our game. And in our planting manager, we have, get out of your dashboard. Where is the plot? Pickups, plot manager. Okay, so in our plot manager, we need to reconfigure how we're going to do this. We're going to create a new logic system up here. Once we go to our collectible plants, no, mobs, no, tiles, farm plot. All right. We are going to delete the old farm plot and now just have this. And this is single, or let's do let's name it plot, I guess. Let's add the tile set plot and delete the old one. So now we have just the one plot. And then we're going to do left, middle, and end. And each of those just need to have their respected let's see here. Just got to add the plot pieces. And now that we have that, we need to add a plot checker. So we go to our points, and we need left, middle, end. These are 16 by 16, so we know 8.5 by 8.5 is the true middle. So we can go 8.5 and bring it down to 8.5 to get the actual true middle. Because the center tool, oops, is putting it at 8.8, but that's not quite true middle. That's okay. Doesn't really matter what that is. So now that we have its X position here, we actually need to take that value and minus the minus 16, because we want to be in the middle of the next one. So it's negative 7.5. And we can't see it, but it's over here now. And then so each of these need to be in that place. And then this one needs to be true middle, so 8.5 by 8.5. And then end needs to be 17. Right? So 8.5 times 2 is 17. So now we've got, they're in a line. And now that we have those, we can go into our planting manager and say, for each, we want to add, stop it. I hate the UI for this. It drives me nuts. It's the worst. Go back to our game scene. There we go. Move it back up here. So in our game scene, we want to add a new entity. And we add this entity and call it plots. And in that plots, we're going to add the farm plot. Because we might have different plots later on, but we want to start building the group logic for this object now. So for each instance of plots, we want to start checking each of their locations, because it might change, right? Dynamically, we need to constantly be checking for this. So for each instant of plot, we want to check the point of that plot. So if the plot's point is inside, so if the position of the point what point is this? This is the plots dot point X, and this point is the left point. So the location of left on the X and Y axis, so we're checking the left. So if the plot on the point, if there is one, then what do we do? Once. Actually, we wouldn't need that. So for each instance, if there is one to the left, then we need to set the animation to this one, to the plot, to middle. And if the animation is set to... If the animation of plots is set to... middle. If there isn't... Hey, I appreciate it, Lord. Thanks for... Hey, thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping in, man. If there's not one to the left, then this one needs to be left. If there's not one to the left or right, so let's take this one. If there's not one to the left... Oops. Come on. Or right. We're going to set this one to plot. And if there is one to the right, If there's one to the right, then this one needs to be, but not one. If there's okay, this is where things get complicated. All right. So here we go. If there's one to the left, make it a middle. If there's one to the left and to the right. And that's the only time that that should happen. If there's one to the left and one to the right, make it a middle. If there's one to the right and not to the left, make it a left. If there's not one to the left, we don't, but there is one to the right, make it left. So if there's not one to the left and there is one to the right, turn it to a left. If there is one to the left and to the right, make it a middle. If there's one on the right but not on the left, make it a left. Which is what we just did twice. And then if there is one... my brain. I gotta inverse this one. So if there is one to the left and isn't one to the right, make it right. So now, while we're cooking our... Okay, that's close. It's only doing middles. Maybe it doesn't need to be for each instance. Can we just do this? I don't know. It should automatically... That doesn't feel right. No. First of all, hold on. We need to look at... How are farm plots being created? Where's that happening? Is that happening in the drone? I mean, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Let's go to the drone manager. Okay, so we need to move the logic for the... I don't know why I was putting it in the plant manager. I need to take these and remove them from there and bring them into here. So, get in here. All right, whatever. So every time, normally before it was selecting a random thing. And now we don't want that to happen. Now, we're going to have it create a farm plot and set its animation to by name to plot. I don't know if it was capital or not. I don't know if it matters. We're going to change that to plot. And now, inside of that logic, we can then add this. And I want to say that should fix the problem. Or it won't. Or it won't. Okay. Great. uh... That's the trail. Gotta move this up. Disable this guy. Okay, that is... It's not doing what I want it to do. We're gonna move the plot logic outside of this group. What is happening here? For each plot, we do need a for each plot in here for sure. So I'm just gonna do for each farm plot for now. That should automatically change. Why? What am I doing wrong? Okay, well, we can see that it's being changed out of what it was in the beginning. So that has to do with some logic going on here. Let me know who I still have in here, by the way. Who's still watching? Now let's go inside of our farm plot. Plot left, middle, end. Oh, for one, this needs to be right. I can see it changing in real time. And that part looks right. But... plot left, middle, right. Let's address this and make sure that in the drone manager, oh, okay. Yes, Blue Knight. I do. There will be... Basically, what I'm going to be doing is doing my devlogs, these big videos, and then editing them down into bite-sized chunks, or restructuring a tutorial around what I did in that stream. And that way, it's like, here's how you follow the inventory system if you want to make an inventory, you know? So one thing I noticed right away is, there we are. We weren't creating the right plot to begin with. So now, yeah. I might do something like that. I might change this channel to actually just be about the game in general and not my personal channel anymore. I think we want to make sure that we start with the left one. It's interesting to me that... Oh, no? Okay. Wait a minute. for each instance of the farm plot, set its animation to plot. And then if maybe we want to do this once. I think it's like freaking out. I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, now we're back to these because we're saying just trigger this one time. I think we want each of these to be triggered once. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. That's not the answer. We're doing something goofy here. So it's setting this because it's saying that it's inside of plot. But it's not. But it's not. So that now, when I take this one out, it works fine. Can we delete a point? Hold on. So for each instance of left, let me try this a different way. So for each instance of point left, let's try this. That ain't going anywhere. We gotta do a whole reboot, maybe. Okay. So that ain't working. If, for each instance of left, if there is something to the left and not to the right, we need to set this to left. No. If there is something to the left and not to the right, set it to right. If we're just gonna... If there isn't anything to the left, then let's make it plot. Just to make sure that this is working, right? So far that shouldn't change. Now, if it's not anything to the left, let's make it middle. See if it works. No. So that doesn't work either. I know I'm on the right spot here. Maybe it doesn't need to be in there. It needs to be out here. I'm just thinking about this weird. Come on. My brain can solve this. What's happening here, my guy? Let's do for each instance of farm plot. Let's try this again. So that's not working. It should be changing it to middle now. All right. Well, let's remove this and see if it's working. Because middle should be... Okay, so now it's working. So for each instance of farm plot, boom. Okay. We could be doing this differently. By creating... I just gotta rack my head around this. I'll be able to do it. Give me just a second here. I got to think about. Actually, you know what? Now that I am pondering this, I do believe I actually have a. Let me move this Stardew Valley thing over, and let's look at gdevelop. I believe I have a thing I worked on before that had world generation. Um, no, I do have a few other projects though that are floating around here. What I want to look at is the uh, um, go to YouTube. I'm trying to think of what it's called. What the heck? Uh, there's a tutorial I know for sure about. Aha. I kind of want to do something similar to this. Give me a second here. So I'm thinking that we can create an actual object. No, that'll permanently set the... Come on. Why is my brain struggling to do this? I might move on to something else temporarily while my brain struggles over this concept and fix it later. For now, we have middle, which should allow us to at least grow some vegetables on a plot that doesn't look like absolute ass. Boom. Let's when in our planting manager, when we create an object, let's also make sure that we're creating on the pickup layer. And go into our game and set this random guy to the pickup layer as well. Boop. All right. Whoa, those are cool. I accidentally created the onion on the wrong layer. I kind of like how those contrast the ground. Is that just me? Is that too obnoxious? Should it only do that? I feel like it should only do that when it's selected, maybe. I adjusted the wrong thing. It's in plant growth. Or in the harvest. We want this to be in the pickup layer. In the pickup layer. Let's check it. Grow, 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 grow. Harvest, harvest, harvest. There's two of them! I can see them! Wait a minute. Hey, thanks, Blue Knight. I'll have to check. Do you stream your stuff? Have to come check it out. Let's see here. Okay. That's 2 of them. So let's see. That's 2, 3. Okay, it is working. Weird. I just felt like there for a second I didn't get as many resources as I should have. Oh, cool. I mean, archives, it still shows us kind of what's going on, right? I'll have to check it out. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. That's a good way of measuring what you're doing. It's nice to be able to look back and have a record of what you've done. For sure. Mm-hmm. Pew, 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 pew. Click, click, click. Let's see. Did I lose one? Hold on. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. So that is a bug. Okay. We gotta deal with our pickup when our collecting items. I think we need to actually add. We need to add another for loop here. So for each uh item that the player is in collision with, check each instance of player that's in collision with that. Check their inventory size. So now, let's see. I did get the 2 there, it looked like. I shouldn't lose any more when I toss them out. I should get 5 every time. Yeah. Huzzah. So now we've got better farming tiles, an inventory system that lets us spawn and drop items. I like this. This is good. This is good stuff. Now I figure out this planting, this drone management thing with the plots. Yeah, there will be for sure. For sure. What I want to do with these guys is like when you toss them out, there'll be actually like a tween. It'll go from your player to the location where it wants to go, and then they'll kind of like plop out. But right now, so as you know, with game development, right? Each stage it's kind of like a game is a bunch of functions, or in this case, features that are individually stitched together and then eventually polished to be fluid amongst them. And so my main focus before quality of life and visual adjustments is building a system where at least these functions are working, and then we'll go through and do all that real fancy polish. But yeah, so right now we've got, I mean, we've got the basics of a farming simulator. Pretty much. I mean, we need to now check for if we have if we have plants. These guys will eventually, if I let them, if I add a little bit of Boyd's movement to them, they'll kind of move apart from each other, and so they'll never like spawn directly on top of each other. But I want to maybe build a menu that lets me turn plants into seeds. And so that way it's checking if we have a certain number, quantity of these seeds, and if so, remove that quantity from like a debug? What do you mean? I have a debug. Debug's right here. Oh no. Debug's a mess now. Let's stretch that out. There we go. Boop. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so basically the next step here is to, with our farm, yeah, I get what you're saying. With our farm simulator, having a way to not only just drop the item, but how to spend it and change it to another item, and then only create plants if we have seeds. And that way, later on, we can identify, like, if the inventory ID is selected, like, whatever seed it is, find out what seed it is, and then if we have a seed of that, plant that crop. But right now, we don't have that logic. We just have a simple logic for one plant. So I need to fix that. But that's okay. Working on it. It'd be kind of fun to make, like, some sort of, I kind of have this idea on a seed dispenser. Like, that's funny. Let's see. Open this up. It's going to be too tall. So we'll add something like this in the middle. There we go. And then we'll add Dale colors. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, perfect. We'll add a top because it has a flat kind of I mean, it's not flat, but it's rounded like that. I'm going for a gumball machine, actually. So what I'm thinking is something like this, where where your seeds are like dispensed at a gumball machine, or something like that. Some sort of like, yeah, like that, working towards something like that anyways. Let's see here. I think it could be a little bit taller. Not so, it doesn't need to be so thick. Gumball machines aren't really that thick. Let's see here. Boop. Boop. Add a little bit of light. Oh, we actually got to make this darker and then add the light to it. Like that. And then let's see here. Kind of want to add some foot to this. It'd be really interesting if, like, visually interesting, maybe, if, let's see here, we added like a, they always have like coin boxes, you know, the little dial box that's on them. Maybe we can add like a, add some lightness here. Move that to there, copy this, add this back to my color palette, and add something like that. And then because of Dale, we got to do some sort of Dale branding on it. So maybe we can do it like that. And I think that this could actually just be like this to give off the sense that it is movable. And then we can add little, like, let's see. Some sort of visual identity. Maybe we need to take these smaller things like this and add them to another layer. We're going to make this layer, like, really, we're going to, I think it's screen. And we're going to take these and move them to that layer. It's not screen. What layer mode is that? Darken? No. Invert. No. Overlay. Not quite. I guess we just do normal and then just, like, lower the opacity, huh? Well, that doesn't make a whole lot of difference, does it? I would have thought that there was, it's very strange to me that on normal, that opacity, it's either 1 or nothing. Oh, that's why. I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So maybe we can, like, move these inside. You know, just kind of have them around. It's hard to tell what's in there. Maybe I can increase this just a little bit. But normally, sometimes in these, you can, like, see... Oop, we're in the wrong layer now. I think I need a darker base color. It's starting to look like a tree. And then this needs to be, like, orange on the top. Because the light. And this needs to be darker. Maybe this one? There we go. That's a better color. Something like that. And so now we have like a bubblegum dispenser. It needs to have a black outline like the rest of the Dale stuff. So I'm just gonna add a nice little black outline here. Just to help identify it as a machine. they do. Yeah, they do. Let's see here. Dang, it feels like there should be something like this. Which is fine if there is. I wonder. Yeah, the Dale sticker is so big I can't like put it on this thing somehow, but I need to figure out a way to explain what's going on there. I kind of feel like there should be like a hopper, you know, something on the side here that you can collect, you like put it into, and then it grinds them up with your Dale bucks. But okay, that really rounds that out though. I do like that. To me, it's hilarious that it's a gumball. I want it to just be whack. Like, people are going to be like, wait, what? Maybe something like that. That's fun. I think the player... I think that'd be just, like, ridiculous. And that's what I'm looking for. A hint of ridiculousness. And in this case, I actually want those to be inverted. There we go. Yeah. Alright. Then we can add, like, these... What I think that what we could do as well is make these gumballs, not gumballs, but like capsules, you know, like that, but maybe with like a red bottom, like a Pokeball, inverse Pokeball, promo ball, and then we can take that, add that to this next layer, and move those gumballs inside this machine. And we want to make sure that they're actually under. And so if it's under, we want to darken. No. Hold on. Okay, so I know what we need to do. So this needs to be normal. And so we'll put our normal Pokeball there. And this can be 100, whatever percent. We need to then take the glass on this layer and pull it off. So we're going to take this out. Oh, no. Cut that out with this one included. Cut that. No. What are you doing? Cut that out. Put it on another layer. This one, we're going to lower the opacity on. That's too far. Way too far. Something like that. And then now in this layer, we can, the layer down here, we can move these things around. And I think what'll help them pop a little bit is if we add some sort of black outline. Oops. We can add one more layer underneath that to make even more in the background, right? There. I don't know. I don't know about you, but now to me it looks like it's kind of full. Kind of hard to tell, but it's an idea. It's a concept. All right. Darken them behind the first layer. I think that would end up like blotting them out. I mean, which you're saying like, well, you know, actually. Hold on. Let me do something real quick. So on this first layer, these are just going to be all the way black. And then we're going to have ones that aren't black. And they're just going to be freaking white. So the black ones, what we can do is add depth as like, more looks like a brush stroke, but it's just silhouettes of these things. Maybe that's too far. And then on this layer, we'll take the white ones. Oh my goodness. Would you... Where are you? Is it this layer? Yeah. Add this one. And now we can add... These are kind of hard to do. Looks like there's something in there, right? Not sure how I feel about either of those. Let's go back to our main layer and copy like a seed maybe. Go back to this layer and we can add them in. This guy's... Well, now it does definitely feel like there's something in there. That's for sure. Just going to add some slight variation into the way I paint them in to give off that they're rounded a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that conveys the message that there's something in there. And in the long run, I'll readjust all of this stuff. I'm not set on the color palette yet either. These are just temporary colors. One of the next things that I want to do, though, are nodes. And so I have an idea. Now what we can do is flatten these layers. There we go. Okay. So let's see here. In these nodes layer, I kind of have an idea about the way I want to do like mining. And so I'm gonna create a node real quick here. Let's see. The face of it should be here. This should be like this. And we can add clumps to it, like there, there, and there. So it starts with silhouetting, right? I kind of want this node to maybe stand off a little bit more. So maybe we'll do it like... Okay, I got an idea. Okay, so now that we got these rocks, we can come through here and do this. We're just going to color it all one color. Now we're going to add some shadow. And then we can even go even deeper and actually remove this and this to add in visual lines. That needs to be entirely like that. This needs to be entirely like that. This can go up there. I don't really like the way that that looks. Let's see here. I'm honestly, I'm just kind of thinking about like Forager a little bit here. In the way that ore is done in Forager. Let's take a peek here. See if I can do an audit on that drawing style. Come on game, delete that. Let's go. Feet hurt. Been sitting here for too long. I have to take a break here shortly, guys. Let's see here. That's a tile set. 60 tile set. Top down. I'm looking at itch real quick. So what I'm doing right now is there was a pack in itch on itch that was like really forager styled. And I think I should just go into all the assets that I own. My library, view all. It's in here somewhere, isn't it? I imagine so. I have hundreds of dollars invested into people's packs here on itch. Let's see here. I didn't see it. This is all of them, right? I'm looking for that very basic... Maybe this is an 8-bit pack. Maybe that's why I'm not seeing it. It might be on an 8x8 grid. Because that's what Forager's on, right? So let's go to browse assets, pixel art, 8x8. Actually, I think Forager is on 16x16. You want to watch this? I have so many Steam games. So many Steam games. Let's see here. I'm just trying to find it's so simple. And I can't find the pack. It's always there when I'm like not looking for it, and then whenever I, it's what's going on here? 2D tile set. We'll remove the 8x8. But it's like it's so simple. It's such a simple pack. There it is. Perfect. Yeah, so this is what I was thinking in my head. The way that the node, this is what like Forager looks like. And so yeah, I like that font though. I'm gonna take that font. If I do end up using it, I will pay for it. But this is what I was thinking. Dang it. I just want to look at the pictures, man. Show me the shiny pictures, damn it. I don't care about this scrolling comment section. Where'd the pictures go? That's what I was thinking about, though, in my head. So, like, let's see. We're going to take the black outline for now and carve out. So the first part of the rock needs to have like this, a top like this. And we want it to be at least one longer. Let's see here. Looking back at this format. Okay. So all they're doing is they're doing... let's get into our cube, actually. Let's make sure to turn our grid on. Okay, so what they're doing in theirs is they're doing something that looks like this. And then they're cutting out the bottoms. And then it's as simple as basically that. Just the bottom is shorter. And it's not as wide. So it starts like this. And we can see that here, where they kind of come in. And on theirs, they're actually drawing this cube to give it more of a, like that. And then they're painting the top brighter than the other bottom. And then they're adding or kind of like this. 1, 2, yeah, all right. That one is off the side like this. This one, much the same way. And then we can even add one in the middle. Or like, we can off-center this one. Like that. And then it's just about shading, right? So we have to decide what color is our ore going to be. What color of our rock's going to be. So in this case, I want to change up our rocks to be this crazy purple color. And then we can set our ore to be... Let's see here. How did they do that? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, I see. They use two colors for the... which makes sense. So let's say we'll make it just like green for now. But then they're doing this. I don't think... Are they wrapping the... They are. Yeah. So this comes out and then goes straight down. And it looks goofy because I haven't put any effort into like doing any sort of color coordination here. But that's effectively what they're doing with their mining nodes. But you know how my rocks are drawn is kind of, we see the top plane, we see where the tops are, and then we hide the layers that you can't see through that, and then add highlight to the ridges that we can see. Kind of like this. And so I'm trying to think of how to incorporate these two styles effectively into one thing here. So for simplicity's sake... No thanks, take me to the download. Thank you, buddy. Forest. Where's the items? Resources. There we go. So what we can do is just take that for now and throw it into our... Oh, well, I gotta first extract it. Put that on my desktop. Go to my desktop. Drag that into here. New image. Give me a rock. Paste the rock. Take that. Pop that down. Fix the edges. Right. And then go back through and just... That is literally what their ore looks like in my system. Big, chunky rock. Which isn't terrible. It's not my ideal node, but let's take a look at some of their other nodes. See what we can do here. Come on. I mean, I've seen worse things in my life. What if we go back and re-add that dark color? Oops. Like that. I mean, for a placeholder, it could be worse. And this is exactly how, before anybody gives me flack about it in the future, let me show you Forager. If you guys haven't seen Forager, that's this game. And Forager has the same sort of, I mean, look at that. Theirs is a bit more polished, of course, but it gives off the same sort of example. Same basic structure. They have one rock that's designed one way with one variation, and then they use that variation, this rock here, or that one, to be the mine node. So in the roundedness of our system, it just kind of works. I do want to see what happens when we change some of these values. Oops. We want to do it here. Put that there. But that's not the right one. That's the right one. And then we want a darker on the bottom. Okay. Huh. That actually worked out. I think that looks much better. Let's see that in action, huh? So, what we need to do for now is to export that into the node stone. And this is going to be an object. Actually, yeah, object. Browse. We're going to change this. We're going to go into objects. We're going to call these nodes. And then we're going to go inside that folder. Node stone. Node ore. I don't know. And then we're going to go to our game and say, oh, that's the wrong thing. Here's our game. We're going to go into our entity nodes, add a new sprite. And we're just going to call it node ore, or node spawner. And the first one's going to be stone. And our next one is going to be call it coal for now. Someone's blowing me up. Right, so now we have our node. And we can put that wherever. It's going to have an issue. I do like the way that looks. This has now got to be a collision entity. And we can remove the player from that, actually. So now, our guy won't build a plot. However, we're going to have to set the Z axis, or the Z order for that. That's okay. It's terribly uncentered. Let's see. One, two, two. So there's no real way to get around that unless we make it bigger. Uh, 16 by 16. Now, that should be better. Just gotta pick it up one. But it's like off-centered. And we're creating the origin point from the top left. And we may want to be creating it from the middle, but we can fix that in engine because we have the selectors not quite selecting it right. And so we're going to move the origin 2 squares over and 2 squares down inside of our actual game engine here for simplicity's sake. So we're going to go back to our origin. We're going to move it over 2 and move it down 2. Move it the other way. There we go. Let's see if that fixes that issue. Almost. I think this needs to come up. Like that. Jump scare. Oh, was the Discord message? Now it needs to be over to the left by 1. Yeah, sorry about that. Normally I have it on mute, but today it was not. So we'll just do a 1 by 1 movement, and I think that works out. Yay! So now what we're gonna do. So one of the things that I've been kind of waiting for with having the inventory system done is now we're gonna be able to target the nodes and based on a grid. So basically, I'm gonna draw this because it explains kind of what's going on here. So in our game, we're generating a map with 2 layers. And each of them are the same size, and each of them are full of squares, right? And we're saying every time we generate one of these cubes, check to see if it matches a certain requirement. And if it does, based on its visibility, is the requirement, please assign it a tile. And so it's checking for collision from the map above it, right? So this map is the one that's on top, and then we have another layer that goes right over top of it. It'd be easier if I could just select the boxes. Come on. Come on. Thank you. So if we select this again, and this time we'll do it in red, it's checking to see if the box behind it, or it's saying like if these are in collision and this is visible of a certain degree, then color the ground in grass, right? And now what we want to do is add another layer, so 3 layers, and we're checking. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of how to explain this. Now we're gonna add another layer. Oh, there goes Discord again. And so let's say this is the base layer. This one is the next layer. And then... Alright. We're going to go like this. So now, what I want to do is add a vegetation layer to this generation. And based on the number of of, so for a, let's say per map, I want 10 nodes, right? And so we're going to now say if there per quantity of node per 10, for per one, for every node plus one up until this number, find a point on this level and check its collision to make sure that we're not spawning on a rock. So it's only on grass. So I like, in our game, our grass is like purple and pink. So if the node collision zone is valid, so let's say here there's a rock, it's not valid here, but it's here, then spawn a node at that location. And then when this is dead, wait a timer and then spawn another node at another positive location. So every time we do this now, these are all valid spots to spawn a rock because we don't have any stones in our game yet. Big stones, like what's seen here in our, like this would be a collision zone. So if there's no collision, and like also not a farm zone, so as long as there's no collision in that square, build a spawn a node, and then we're going to be able to harvest that node by shooting it with our drone until it pops and spawns the items, and then we'll have resources. And then we can do the same thing with trees. So if I did have a tree in the game, which I will, they're gonna work in a similar way, where it'll be a node spawn, whether it's stone or a tree. Let's say there's 10 of them in this square. It'll find a random point that doesn't have something already in it and spawn it. And then we can harvest it. And then when that goes away, do a 5-second counter and spawn it somewhere else. And so I'm going to save that for the next video, guys. I appreciate you stopping in and hanging out with me today. It's been educational and fun to hang out with everyone. I'm going to go ahead and mute this part. So yeah, thanks for stopping in. I'm going to be doing those video recaps like we talked about. I'm getting close to my week 1 recap. And I'm going to be doing some channel adjustments. So look out for that. It'll probably start popping up as TerraFarmers as the name. Yeah. So Blue, thank you. We had Blue Knight, Kyra, Lord NPM, Punisher, Carl, and Don't Run Sean today. Thank you guys for stopping in and hanging out with me. Yeah, well, it'll probably be the game studio, rather, because that would make more sense. Just answering Blue, what Blue said. Blue said that I think you should rename the channel, but I don't think that it should be TerraFarmers. And that would make sense. So in this particular case, what we're going to do is adjust the stream to be our game studio, which is Down to Earth Games. And we'll be publishing more content under that. So, thank you guys so much again for stopping in. I had a great time today, and I hope to see you around next time. You know what that means. Cue the outro.